When did you start working at an alternative school?
It was in the early 70s, and I was selected to be a teacher in this new school, of which really no one knew what was going to happen.
How'd you figure it out?
We had an amazing group of young people and young teachers who were excited about revolutionizing teaching and how this age group of kids could do and explore and experiment.
What age was it?
7th, 8th, and 9th grade, which a lot of people call the armpit of teaching.
Why do they call it that?
You remember when you were in 7th and 8th and 9th grade and how horrible it was?
Yes.
Well, a lot of people dread that whole age, but for me, it's really pretty exciting because they're just on the cusp of becoming who they are, not knowing where they're going, but they have all this curiosity and love of life that a lot of times gets stifled in the high school.
And how did you find the school, or how did they find you?
One of the seasoned teachers came to my classroom a couple of times, and I think he told me later that I blew him away with what I was doing in the classroom, and I thought I was just doing what I was always doing, was being creative and helping the kids learn and do something different and not have bored kids look at me every day.
Tell me how the school was different than other schools.
First of all, we had all of the kids together in one grade. The kids could call us by our first name. We tried to reduce the friction between student and teacher and make it a learning experience for everybody. We also treated everybody's learning styles in a different way, instead of having a lecture classroom where the teacher stands at the front and you have all these kids in little rows and they sit there like perfect little automatons. We threw all the desks out, we got tables, and I set up learning centers, and I had at least 6 separate sections with different activities in each section for each child to choose what they wanted to do. One was writing, one was listening, one was drawing, one was performing, and one was looking. And they all had codes on them, and they had to decide what they wanted to do per grading period to fulfill the requirements based on all those centers. And especially for those kids who don't read or listen well, there's a lot of choices on how to learn something.
So did they ever take a test?
Not really a test. I made up all kinds of learning materials for them. They were definitely not tests. They were explorations of themes of the things that we're talking about.
What did you teach at this school?
I taught language arts, which of course is about anything you want to make it, because it's reading, it's writing, it's thinking, it's looking, it's creating. But traditionally, it was, I guess, what you would call English and drama. I taught both of those two things. We also had some small group classes or mini courses. A lot of them were decided by what the kids wanted to do, especially a book that they were interested in, or even books that I thought they would like. Books of the era, like Siddhartha, Flowers for Algernon, Trout Fishing in America.
Please tell me what you did with Trout Fishing in America.
Well, Trout Fishing in America was a small novel by Richard Brautigan. And the kids were so excited about the book and liked it so much, they decided that they wanted to do this project and involve the entire school. And they made a Trout Fishing in America scavenger hunt. They designed sets and they designed clues, all in poetry, and the whole school involved in finding Richard Brautigan. And we had a prize for the person who did it. It was the most incredible thing I think I've ever seen in my life of teaching.
What are we looking at?
These are my Making It Strange packets that I used to make up about once a month, and they were how to get your mind to think metaphorically and to tie unusual things together or think about things in a different way. And it was a process that I learned from a teacher who really changed the way I think about things and how to teach. And the kids really love to do these. They're really interesting. For example, which weighs more, imagination or logic? Which is more reliable, a fantasy or an illusion? Which is smarter, a pen or pencil? And then they can go on and on. There are just a lot of ways to write about things and to think differently.
Was that a way that you became interested in teaching a different kind of education?
I think that's one way, yeah, it's true. Being bored with school myself and not thinking that you have to have that strict line between teacher and student, that you're there to learn together. I wanted to bring things out of them. I wanted to have fun with them. I wanted us to love literature, love writing, love poetry. We're all there together because we wanted to be there. The kids wanted to come to this school. I don't think that teachers in today's world ever really get that relationship, especially in the middle school. More in elementary school, where the kids are more loving and you have that really nice relationship. But junior high is so fraught, and high school, with so many other things that are going on. I don't think that you ever get to really know your teacher as a person, or you really get to know your students, what's really inside them. And I think we all really got to see these kids in lots of different ways.